We have a third party.
So, hopefully Heidi will show up, but I'm not gonna start the meeting yet. So normally I wouldn't be here doing this, but since you guys don't have a chair, I'm kind of just volunteering for the night since that's the thing, and that's what I do. So I figure just, you know, it's gonna be a lot of casual conversation, but at some point, hopefully the next meeting or the one after, you guys will choose a chair, who will. We use Robert's Rules Light as Anne McFarland, so she's the Washington.
It took Parks and Arts Commission probably about 9 meetings to pick a chair. It took a little while.
Yeah, so whatever you need help from me
So
on.
we got a year.
No, we had 9 meetings the first month.
All right, so yeah, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, read a little blurb here, do the roll call, and then we'll get into the agenda. Oh, here comes Heidi. Oh, hold on just a second for her. Welcome.
Chris, David sent a message.
Oh,
Hi, David.
Oh, hi, David. So if you just want to take a seat, Heidi. We're not doing anything so formal.
Okay.
Heidi,
No,
you gotta come
at
up
the
here.
table.
Okay.
You aren't part of the team.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. I was just telling the group, Heidi, that I'm not normally gonna be here, but so you guys can have an open conversation. I'm just here to kind of chair the meeting tonight. So under what Governor Inslee's Washington Ready Plan, members of the public may attend Liberty Lake Community Engagement Commission meetings in person at City Hall at the address provided above on the agenda or via Zoom at the link below. Members of the public will be allowed to comment in person or via Zoom as described on the last page of this agenda. So we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. I don't know where the hammer is. And we'll do a quick roll call. Okay, and make sure, and I know I'm gonna mess up, Robin, I'm gonna mess up your last name, but you're first on my list, so Robin
Back it up.
Beckett. Okay, I will not mess it up again. So you are here, so Robin is here. Aaron Asmus.
Here.
Vacant position 2, not here. Okay, sorry. Heidi Christensen, here. Summer Darrow.
Here.
Mark Saba.
Here.
And Terry Peters is not here. So I will ask, would someone please make a motion to excuse Terry?
I make a motion that we excuse Terry from tonight's meeting.
Thank you.
Second motion.
Okay, we have a second from Heidi. So any discussion? Okay, all in favor of excusing Terry, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion passes 5-0. All right, okay, that's some just getting through the business. So we are on to number 3. So again, this is gonna be kind of a very casual discussion as you guys get to know each other. And then we'll just work our way through. So first, introductions, meet and greet. I know all of you guys, so hi, I'm Chris.
And Anne Curtis, I think I met you guys all during the interview process. I'm one of the city council members.
So we'll just go around the table maybe this way.
My name is Aaron Asmus. Been in Liberty Lake for about 4 years.
And maybe what part of town you're in, even though it's on our list here,
Oh, yeah.
and what interests you in joining the commission. How's that?
Yeah, so my family and I live in the Rocky Hill neighborhood. And community engagement is something I'm extremely passionate about, something that I have a background in, and hoping to help bring more citizens involved in city business and what's going on.
Thanks.
Name is Mark Saba. I live in the ghetto.
I do too.
Yes, we both live in the ghetto, Chris. No, live on Howard Road. I've been a resident of Liberty Lake for 19 years, so been here for a while. The reason why I wanted to be on this commission because the mayor told me to put my name in, so I did. No, honestly, I'd like to get community more involved. Okay, I attend city council meetings on a regular basis. Chris was all excited last night that we had 8 people there, and, you know, which is a good count. But after the citizen comments and a few other things, it was down to me again. So, would like to get more people involved within the community, and that's the purpose of this commission. So that's it.
Thank you.
Hey,
I'm Heidi Christensen. I've been blessed to live in this community for 4 years come May. I've been in Spokane County for 24 years. And I want to be part of the Community Engagement Council to really to serve. And also we have a great community. We can make it better by just saying, hey, we're never going to agree as human beings on everything, but we don't have a choice about being neighbors. So I think we're all committed to each other as neighbors. And I've worked also as a supplier to manufacturing. I'm a nurse assistant doing in-home care as a charity to veterans, but I'm pivoting to move forward full-time as a supplier to manufacturers. So I'm really excited about our business sector, so in our manufacturing sector. So thank you.
Great. Robin, we'll get to it, Jen.
Thank you. My name is Robin Beckett, and I live in the community. It's the River District area. And I've lived here for approximately, I think it's 10 years now. And community engagement is an important function. I am a planner. I have a degree in it, and I also,
We all do it.
it's been a long time, I think, since I've been doing public testimony. And so I am a planner by nature, I'm a planner by career, have my degree in this, and I think it's one of those fundamental necessities that the community needs for decision making. And I think that one of the hardest things that I have quite a bit of experience in facilitation and community engagement, but it's trying to get that transparent and very broad perspective from everybody in the community. So I hope that as a commission member and us working together, we can seek that out. And it all makes a better community.
Thank you. Summer?
My name is Summer Darrow. I've also lived here for 4 years. Apparently I live, yeah, it has been. I know, it goes fast in pandemic time. Apparently I also live in the ghetto, or ghetto adjacent. I'm not sure. I'm
Where do you live?
by the roundabout in the athletic club, about 2 blocks south of the schools.
4 houses.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We slang Girl Scout cookies in her direction. Yeah, I was excited to hear about this opportunity. I think we're very squarely in a time of a lot of disengagement and diverse opinions, but there's a Venn diagram, and I think I'd like to bring that together. I enjoy that, and I have lots of friends in different aspects of this community, and I realize that they don't engage with each other even. And I feel like I'm kind of trying to describe the different things to the different groups. So hopefully, like you said, this brings more people out of the woodwork and we get some different opinions.
Great. Jen, if you would introduce yourself, please.
Yes. Texting and emailing and messaging. I'm Jen Camp. This is my 12th year with the city of Liberty Lake, and I am usually the operations and maintenance director / staff liaison for the Parks and Arts Commission. So I'm happy to offer any advice tonight, or there's another one over here who's been on it for a long time with me. So if we can help in any way, Parks and Arts is a very casual group. So you can make this as formal or as casual as you'd like. And then, did you want to introduce David?
Yeah, real quick. Councilmember Salberg, who is in our audience, you want to take just a second to introduce yourself, since you've been around about as long as a lot of us have.
Let me reintroduce Jen Camp. She's the acting city administrator and is doing a wonderful job.
Yes.
And yes, I was on the initial Parks and Arts, and I would have been sitting in one of those seats, and probably the one that Chris made mention of. So I really look forward to seeing how you can help us engage and dialogue with the community and encourage the city to, and maybe even take over some of the responsibility for the city until you have the communications director, which is going to be set.
Right.
Good job, all of you.
We have a couple people lurking, doing different functions, but we do have online, and David, I'm not gonna make you speak or introduce yourself unless you really want to. But we hired our first.
You got a thumbs up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there, okay. I can't see you. I have my glasses on. Hi. Do you want to take a second to introduce yourself?
Yes.
Since it's a small.
Hello, Liberty Lake. My name is David Gaynor. I am the incoming communications person for the city in about 12 very long days from now. Currently in East Wenatchee, I'm double booked with another thing going on with my current job, but I'm very pleased to be able to be part of what I think is the first gathering of this group. I'm going to have to come in and out because I got to take pictures 2 rooms away from me, but I'm looking forward to seeing what transpires out of the discussion tonight and hopefully get a recording of what I missed.
We'll make sure you have it. Thanks for joining tonight. So David's not joining us officially until the 11th. So he was nice enough to, before he's even official, he attended the council meeting last night and he's here tonight because he will be the staff liaison person once he gets here and gets his feet wet and everything. Heidi, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. What is his last name again, please?
It's pronounced Gaynor. Pretend the O is an A. It's a German thing.
I know all about that. Thank you, sir.
So yeah, I can't speak highly enough of David's background and experience that he's going to bring to us. So it'll be a great asset to you guys and to the city. All right, so that's introductions, meet and greet. Looks like you guys all have a list of the other committee members in front of you. You'll see your position numbers. We rarely refer to that, but we do have a rotating basis for the terms. So that everybody wouldn't expire at the same time. So everybody started off with either a 2 or 3 year, and then after that, they'll be rotating 3 years. So no rhyme or reason necessarily as to who got which term, just kind of here's the spaghetti at the wall and see what's stuck. And if you will notice, we actually do have different sections of town that we have on here. So if you guys know anybody south of 90, west of Liberty Lake Road, Legacy Ridge, Country Vista Apartments, anywhere in that area that would be interested in joining, we are looking for 2 spots there. And we are also looking for 1 more person in Rocky Hill area. And Heidi, we actually, you're not technically north of Mission, but you were close enough.
That's fine. I live right across the street, and I think it's positive to get more people from multifamily dwellings. So live at the villas, and there's kind of saying, well, I'm an owner and they're renters, but you really want to have everyone take a sense of ownership.
Absolutely. So yeah, so if you guys have any questions, keep this handy, and all of our contact information is on the website as well. I think a lot of you have my number. And so just
I got a question, quick
Yes.
question, Chris. At large, what's at large?
representing the whole Liberty Lake. So it's just like kind of Parks and Arts, we try to have somebody to represent each park, kind of,
Mhm.
and then a couple at large. It's kind of like districting with council positions.
Okay.
But we want representation from different parts of the city, and that's the best way to get it. All right, so information on training requirements. So there's a list of things that trainings that we're gonna need you guys to go through, and we will send you all out the links. Things like Open Public Meetings Act. And most of these are recorded, so you can just take them and we'll make a note that it was done. Open Meetings Act, public records requests, information on, okay, so you guys will all have, you may already have your Liberty Lake email addresses, how that works, the retention period, not having serial meetings, so that will all be in the Open Public Meetings Act. Some of you are probably already familiar with some of that. So, for example, somebody sends out an email on a subject, don't reply all, reply singly. We don't want it to get to a point where you guys are accused of having a meeting when you're not actually physically having a meeting. And luckily, the board's big enough that you guys probably won't get into that, but with 4 council members, that constitutes a meeting if everybody's going back and forth on email or phone call or text on the same topic when there's an action item coming up. So that's pretty, what other ones for, it's mostly the Open Public Meetings Act, and yeah. So if there's any others, I know, Lisa will be back tomorrow. She has a set that she sends through, sends planning commission through. Tom, can you think of any others?
Public disclosure.
Public display, that's, yeah, that falls in with the serial meetings and whatnot. So it's quick videos that you can watch and just get up to speed. If you have any questions, just let us know. We have to go through it annually. So
You guys might want to get that done before you guys, when you guys will schedule your next meeting at the end, you'll want to get that.
I think that's 90, is it 90 days that you have to, Kelsey, do you know on the training?
Yes, it's 90 days.
So if you guys can get it done before the next meeting, that'd be great. So I am actually going to turn this over to Councilmember Kurtz. This is her brainchild. We've been talking about community engagement ever since I've been on the council, and I have shared with the council on numerous occasions. I remember in 2010, sitting in my first council retreat, and we're talking about how do we get the community more involved. And he's saying, if I have to stand outside Albertsons at the time and talk to people, I will. We've been talking about this for a long time, but you know, there's always other things that come up, other priorities than COVID. But now it's very evident, and we've all talked about this, that we hear from the same people. We want to hear from those people plus more and a bigger variety. So we have the same people coming to farmers market, the same people coming to meetings. Council meetings, Tom used to be out there. Now he's sitting up here with the council. The same people on Facebook. I think, you know, we've got multiple ways to reach out, but we're not reaching everybody and we're not getting enough feedback back. So where's yours, Councilmember Kurtz?
It's exciting to have everybody here and to kind of get started with this. So just a little bit of background on how it came to be, and then we'll kind of just go through the ordinance. So I think that you guys can really understand what it was that was put in place by the council. But I think it was sometime during COVID, because I was outside in spring on a patio, and that's COVID times. So, but DG Garcia, who you guys know in the community, was a city council member, had mentioned and talked about how she just didn't feel like that there was much engagement in the city. And so that just kind of stuck in my head, was thinking about it. And I'm like, okay, how can we get more information to the citizens, right? Because I was a new council member at the time, still kind of am, but as I'm going through all the things the city already does to get information to the citizens, I think I realized that's actually not the problem. The city does a good job of getting information out there, that there's so many different ways that Jen and everybody else really tries to reach as many people as they can. But what I felt like I didn't have a good idea of is how we get information back from the residents. And so at the time, Katie Allen, I met with her, I met with Jen to talk about different ways that we could reach out to citizens. And during those conversations, actually, I think was where one of the topics of bringing on a communication structure came up. So some of that I think helped get that position kind of up and going a while back. But Katie gave me a few different articles to read about how different communities across the world actually engage in a form of co-production. So it's not just that the city tells you what they did, which is a transactional approach to getting information out. It is a co-production. We're going to work on this together. So the idea that I had was to set up something where you guys are going to help figure this out, how this works and implement it, but how the city and the residents together are consistently engaging together, not just when we want to know what people think about ARP dollars or Trailhead or pick a project. It's going to be consistent. There's going to be a consistent way to get a pulse on the community all the time. It's not going to be every time we want information, we got to recreate the wheel of how to engage the residents or come up with a new way to do something. And so just kind of sitting down and thinking about it and using the resources that Kate gave me, and talking with her, talking with Jen and some other people in the community too. And I drafted the ordinance. I think we had like 4 different workshops with the council on it. And they had a lot of questions about what it would look like. The ordinance that you see, Ordinance 277, was based off of all the other ordinances for the commissions that are already in place. So it's very similar in structure. What's the word? The terms. All those things are very similar, but the establishment and purpose is the piece that's very different. So you guys have the ordinance in your packet. But, so I'll just kind of go through these and then if you guys have questions, I'm happy to answer them now. As you guys also sit and think through this on your own when you get out of the meeting, I'm happy to take phone calls, email, whatever, just to make sure that you guys have kind of the framework in mind. And then it's going to be yours. So me putting this together and then the council putting it forward is something that they wanted for the community. It now becomes the community's community engagement commission. So the first thing, and we talked about this in the interviews too, was studying and submitting recommendations to the mayor and city council regarding the methods, the ways that you guys are going to suggest to the council about sustainably engaging citizens. And I think that's the key word, is sustainably engaging citizens, not just one time, not this group this time and the next group that and the next time, but in a variety of different ways. So not just one way, but really trying to reach as many different people in as many different ways as we can. We are not going to reach everybody. We all know that. But there's a lot of different populations in the city, and just trying to figure out the best way to reach them, whether it's people who want to engage in town halls and really want to meet face to face, people who want to meet one-on-one, people who want to do a quick poll and give you their input, people who use QR codes, people who do not. All of those different things are things that you guys are going to be looking at to figure that out. So just looking at different ways to do that. And I think we talked about this in the interviews too. There's probably going to be some sort of technology. There's probably going to be some sort of financial investment that the city's going to need to make to do this. So looking at those different platforms, I know that Jen had set up a meeting about Polco, which I don't know anything about, but that is one system. Thought Exchange is one platform that we have looked at a couple of different times, but I'm sure as you guys get out there, there are lots. And so, you know, that's some of the research that you guys can kind of start to take on and look at is what different platforms are out there? What do other municipalities use? What are the pros and cons of using those? And so I think you guys are going to kind of get into that and hopefully make some recommendations to the city council about, so we don't want that to be transactional as well. So the city will need to be involved in that too, and figuring out and giving some recommendations on what's going to work for them. But I think getting the initial list of however many to the city so that that process can be done together. It's good that we have a communications person coming on too, because he's probably going to have some recommendations, having worked in a different place.
15 years with the school district too.
Oh yeah,
There's a lot of community engagement in that position.
yeah. So as far as that piece goes, any questions so far that you guys have?
I got one. Say we come up with a program and technology that needs to be purchased. Do we have to wait? Do we have to wait until the next year's budget? Or would that be something that would go to city council to be approved? How would that?
You know, there's lots of things in the budget each year that are planned for, but not necessarily spent. So it could be that we find somewhere in the budget that we could take those dollars out of. Or we can always go to the council and ask for a budget amendment if it's something that we're going to try to implement this year. So those are things we work with Kyle Dixon on, who's our finance director. He can point us in the right direction.
And the Parks and Arts Commission actually does have a budget line item for each year. They have a kind of a office and operating supplies line item, as well as a public art fund line item. So once this gets established, you can discuss putting a dollar amount each year with kind of a strategic plan like the Parks and Arts Commission does.
And part of the impetus of this came out from the strategic plan too. I mean, really engaging a vibrant, engaged community is one of the pieces of the strategic plan. So let's see. So we talked about just the kind of the different ways. Those are things you guys are gonna work on. So if we're looking at item, let's see, A2, identify additional policies, procedures, or resolutions that the mayor or the city council should consider for furthering the goal of co-production within the city. Those are things that you guys will bring forward. If there's something that you guys see that you have recommendations on, we want to hear those, bring those forward. Because if there's ways that you guys, as quote unquote outsiders to the way the city does business, have for recommendations on how to do things differently. I have yet to hear anybody push back on that. I think the whole city council has talked about wanting to have community engagement. I think it's mentioned at just about every different meeting. We need to know what the community wants and what their wishes are. And I've heard the same thing from city staff too. So I think the one thing to learn, if you've never worked in government before, worked in city, county, and state, things do move slower than they do in the private industry for everybody. So just things don't move super fast. And that's not anything about this city. It's just, there's a process to it. So item B, advocating for the active engagement of all residents through the variety of methods and platforms, so that there's sufficient and various opportunities for citizens to meaningfully engage and offer their perspectives to the mayor and city council. So again, I think it's said a couple different times in a couple different ways, but just making sure that there are different ways to engage people at their level where they're at. You know, I might not want to fill out a survey or attend town hall on ARP dollars, but I might really want to. We're talking about trailhead, or we're talking about a pool, or we're talking about a dog park. So realizing that not everybody's going to engage on every topic, but we want to make the opportunities available. And then once you guys are up and going and you're kind of through some of these things, the other pieces on there for kind of the rest of the commission time is mobilizing and maintaining a sustainable network of community leaders. So we've talked about that a little bit in interviews too, that wanting to make sure that maybe some of our HOAs are connected. I think they're in the different neighborhoods and the different districts. That's part of the reason why we did the districting with these positions too, is having some, whether it's a neighborhood ambassador, a community leader, working with HOAs, or just the residents that they don't have an HOA in that area. And how can you then also kind of have that grassroots connection with Heidi in your neighborhood where you live? Who do you know and how can they get to? Yeah,
it's a good point. So we always want to maintain property values. And I know y'all were joking, but when I first moved here, I lived in one of the poorest areas in the county, Riverside Trailer Park on Highway 2. So we don't really have any ghettos in Liberty Lake, and we don't want people to feel ghettoized. To your point, we want everyone engaged.
Yeah.
And I've heard people say, well, I don't go to city council meetings because I'm a renter. And you still are a constituent. You're still a resident of Liberty Lake. So you just want to be inclusive.
Yeah. And then I think also realizing that, like it says here, the city is growing and changing. So I moved here almost 12 years ago, 12, somewhere around there, 2011. It's changed a lot. The population is different. The number of houses is different. The businesses are different. Even I'm different, having lived here in the last 11 years. You know, I had a baby, I had a 6-month-old at the time. Now I've got a almost middle schooler, which I can't believe. Yeah, right. So as people stay here and as they evolve, their interests and things change too. So I think one of the goals is to make sure that the city continues to evolve with the, you know, the changing and growing needs of the city as well. So and then if we get down to item D, we don't want to duplicate anything that the city staff or other commissions are working on. So that's where the communication and the connection with the other commissions, what they've got going on. And again, making sure that the work that you guys are doing is, in the beginning, there may be a little bit of extra effort and time that city staff have to put in, but the goal is for this to be more efficient for everybody. So really trying to make sure that just because the commission thinks something is a good idea, that it's not going to work for city staff. That's not going to work. That everything has to work for engaging citizens, but also for the time and intentions that our city staff has to put in to help bring things too. So, and then the last one is establishing effective relationships with existing and future city commissions to ensure that hopefully not only is co-production and engagement a thing that you guys do in your commission, but also the Parks and Arts Commission, Planning Commission, Salary Commission, all the other trustees. And if I missed anybody, I'm sorry, but like it's an Oscar speech. but just that everybody's included in that. Citizen engagement is one of the guiding things that you guys are working on. So, so I read a lot, I said some things. What questions or comments do you guys have? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't really catch the training. Is that going to be done online? Will that be
Yes.
sent out by email?
Yeah, we'll send you the links.
Thank you so much.
Any questions about? So far, from my standpoint, I see, obviously, we're not looking for you guys to have a solution in 2 meetings or 3 meetings. I foresee a lot of brainstorming sessions with you guys, throwing ideas out, doing a lot of research, and coming up with some viable options for the council to look at. You guys will become the experts on the tools or what the process is going to be, and then come to the council with some recommendations based on that research. And then we'll rely on you guys like they do the planning commission on zoning and things like that. We are a recommending body for this process. So what you guys do is going to be very important, and we will, take your research and your recommendations to heart.
At the next couple of meetings, you guys will figure out who the chair, vice chair, your positions are gonna be. We'll figure out if you guys are gonna do bylaws, or I think one of the commissions does kind of just uses the ordinance as their scaffolding, I said, essentially. And then I think hopefully you guys will figure out what your timeline is. What your goals are for your group to bring forward some recommendations to the council, what work you really want to do, how often you guys want to meet. Maybe you guys want to meet more often up front to kind of do your own research, but get together and kind of come up with your next steps. But the organizational management of your group is up to you guys. I mean, I think it's going to be a little bit of a slow burn to kind of get going. But I'm excited for what you guys are going to put forward, and
whoever does become the chair, maybe that none of you guys are willing, but somebody's got to do it. I'd be happy to, provide their additional webinars that you can go to, but I've been doing it long enough that I'd be happy to sit down with whoever that is and give you the really high level stuff that you guys will need at this type of commission.
then there's also the other chairs of the other commissions too, and kind of get some experience and some advice from them, and see if it fits with what you guys want to do and how you want to contribute to the group. So.
I have a quick question about the other commissions. So working with them, typically, how do the other commissions engage with each other right now? Is there sort of
So I
process?
haven't been to another commission meeting because it's.
Yeah, that's a lot of it's because staff, we always have a staff liaison, so I think there's, the conversations there between the staff that represents or works with those commissions. We have agenda meetings every week and directors meeting at each one, plus there's continual conversation with the staff.
Yeah, and they're very different between the commissions. Lisa's planning commission, she's got so much data that she kind of kicks off the meetings with this list of things she's been working on and topics and subjects. And then they have the conversation on things that they're working on updating or new developments or whatever the case may be. On Parks and Arts Commission, it's more nowadays, it's more led by the chair and the discussions, and they have kind of gotten to a point where staff has stepped back and let them run the show with their ideas and their intent. I can kind of see this commission being a little bit more that way. But in the beginning, it's very staff led just to get up on your feet. And I know that David, the new communications person, will be heavily supported by other staff liaisons, just so that he can get on his feet as well. So
with planning commission, they're very deadline driven, very driven. They have a lot of rules they have to
Parks and Arts
consider.
isn't so
Parks and
much.
Arts is
I think you'll find your own group.
Yeah.
And that's really that's all you need. You can look at what we do all day long, and you can take bits and pieces of it, certainly.
I guess I more specifically meant how do they engage with each other, each group with each other? Do they at all? Because you were just
not really.
Yeah.
No, every once in a while because we also have the library board, but every once in a while there is a member who's on more than one commission. We're trying to get away from that.
Yeah.
So that we have differing voices on different
Sometimes
commissions.
staff liaisons will cross over into other meetings as subjects come up. Like there's a couple of projects that the Parks and Arts is working on that Lisa has been helpful in providing information for.
But this also doesn't mean that there can't be joint meetings. The
Right.
council has had joint meetings with the planning commission before. So if that's something that you guys would find helpful, we can certainly arrange it.
It is in the, in the spirit of engagement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I see this commission working closely with the planning commission, closely with Parks and Arts.
Exactly.
I wouldn't say so much the salary commission, which I'm a member of also, but because we only meet once a year and decide their wages and then move on. after 2 years. But honestly, I'm kind of envisioning this, we're gonna be working closely with everybody. Because everybody's gonna want engagement. I mean, I can tell you the planning commission is gonna, hey, you know, people that need, that can come in and help us out with. And the same way with the Parks and Arts, especially Parks and Arts, because they love to hear from the community.
Yeah.
And so it's gonna be our job to bring those people, funnel them as a resource to those commissions and the city council.
And they're good leaders too. We've got a lot of people on all the different commissions that are good leaders and connected with other people in the community. And I think if you're talking about, technology or something like that, they're going to be awesome to help give some information on that too. So I think that's part of why it was, designed to kind of just make sure everybody's on the same page and build more connection in that way, keeping everybody staying in their lane, right? Of their jobs and their commission that they're on, but also being connected and that makes sense. Yeah. Other questions you guys have?
Would it be appropriate for us to see about engaging with the Relay Police? They have a wonderful women's self-defense course every weekend. And I noticed Otis Orchards has a community-oriented policing station. I don't know if that's something that's appropriate for the commission. And we don't want to be hyper vigilant, but of course we've had more crime in the area. We want to be a community partner to the Relay Police Department. So is that something that would be our bailiwick or no?
I think with Parks and Arts Commission, and again, this is what we did in the beginning, is you kind of brain dump and brainstorm all of the ideas. Everybody's gonna come into this with all kinds of ideas. And then you work with the council to kind of find out what their priorities are with engaging the community on certain topics that may be important for them. And as you start meeting and talking with the Parks and Arts Commission, they would kind of grab onto specific projects over and over and over again. And then those kind of became their priorities. And we still, to this day, we'll have a meeting and we'll have 5 different new ideas. And not every idea, we don't have time to vet every single new idea, but they'll grab onto 1 or 2 and focus and prioritize that. And so I could see, I think in the beginning, it's important for you all to bring your ideas to the table and then start sorting through them and prioritizing them and organizing them.
And I see, obviously, I would assume your priority at first would be, what's the process? What's the method? What things are we gonna put in place in order to get this information back before you pick any certain thing or ask for guidance on the topics to approach?
I think developing the methods and figuring out what those are probably your biggest thing that you're gonna figure out first. What recommendations you're gonna make, whether it's, don't hold me to this, but like if you're gonna have a town hall once a week, right? Like that's kind of unreasonable, right? Like, but it's an idea, right? So.
And you're gonna attend with us. Yes.
Right, yeah. But you see what I'm saying, like, there's a lot of different ways to engage people. And so what you guys think your best ways are, and then how to make those happen.
So just on that same topic, as we think about dumping ideas onto the table, when you look at the budgeting and technology is an easy thing to gravitate towards, but is staffing on the table, whether contract or otherwise, to help support engagement of the constituents? The things that come to my mind are door knocking and things like that. Actually getting out and talking to people. Actually,
That's where we end up asking for more volunteers.
Yeah.
Or, most of us have door knocked. I mean, heck, I'd be out there helping, and that's, again, I think part of the thought around districting. So okay, you've got just a smaller area to focus on. You guys are, actually I think the district that you two are in is probably big, one of the biggest, because it goes all the way down to Sprague and over. And then, River District keeps growing and it includes Stratina. So if it comes to that personal interaction, that's where we try to get more volunteers. Because part of the reason we didn't kick this commission off until now, and I know a lot of your applications were in for a very long time, is because we didn't have a staff person to be the liaison. So again, David's starting 4/11. It'll be a little bit for him to get his feet wet, so he'll be learning along with you guys on a lot of stuff, but I'm sure he will bring a lot of ideas with him too, and they've already gone through this process. So,
And probably the most, in my words, my assumption would be with the Parks and Arts, one of the probably the most frustrating things for them is staff resources can be the limiting factor.
Right.
And so they've gotten really good at thinking outside the box. Staff processes can slow things down. They get, we can have challenges where we just don't have the hands to do the work at times. And so if you can't think outside the box and get those volunteers in the door, I mean, that's fantastic.
yeah, there's all kinds of creative ways out there. I remember several years ago, I went to the Transforming Local Governments meeting, and the coolest thing I saw was an idea that started in Michigan, where I forgot the name of the town, but they got a golf cart and they decorated it. And they would go take the golf cart, city logo and whatnot, around to the different neighborhoods, and it became like a discussion place. And whoever was doing the golf cart that day or that weekend had the list of things that they wanted to engage on. Then Goodyear, Arizona adapted that. Summers in Michigan are quite different than summers in Arizona, so they actually repurposed a van down there that they had. They wrapped it in whatever the material was, so that the outside of the van actually became like a dry erase board. And they would pull out this, tall table with the umbrella and a couple stools, and they would give ice pops out to the kids, and they would talk to the parents. And so dig down deep, and, something like that, we can probably do we've got golf carts. We've got things that we're probably gonna retire that we might be able to repurpose, right? So, just get creative, and I think you guys can not only be very effective in getting the information back, but being really creative with the ways to attract the people to what to engage.
Yeah.
That brings up in one of the interviews, we talked about that we do the movies in the parks, and putting up like a QR code with a survey of all people that you're sitting there, you're waiting for the movie, and for those that do QR codes, you could quickly participate in the survey on whatever.
Right.
And the movies are every week, so you have a different question every week or the same question for a while. But there were a few different ideas that I think we'll have during the interview process too, that hopefully you guys can explore together and be creative and think of different ways.
And that would take very little resource.
Yes.
And it wouldn't require anyone to be on site during
Right.
the event.
Yeah, just even post it on a piece of paper next to the snack shack, right? Next to the bathroom.
Put it up on the screen,
Yeah, exactly.
and so some different ideas like that to kind of get you guys thinking. That I think there's a lot of different ways to engage, and you guys will probably come up with things but wow, that's a really fantastic idea. I've never thought of that. So love this. Keep asking. Keep talking.
No citizen comments yet, sir. And I'm serious, so no offense to Tom, but truly it is, council members, it's appropriate if a council member wants to come and listen on the meeting, but they honestly, based on all the meetings that I've gone to over 12 years, it's honestly not appropriate for a council member to comment at a commission meeting, because it can be thought of as intimidating or trying to influence. I know some people have not quite stuck to that over the years. So
And I'll tell you the other thing too, is when you're running your meetings, don't get so casual that you do allow the audience members to pipe up and weigh in on conversations throughout the meeting. Hold them to the citizen comments.
Yeah.
That will do well for you.
yeah, and to probably, going forward, like the council, we have 2 citizen comments periods. I can definitely see you guys doing that. Session at the beginning, session at the end. Sometimes there's nobody. We had 2 at the beginning last night and none at the end. So it could be that nobody ever comments.
Sad day for community.
Yes.
Yes. I have a quick question.
Yes, go ahead.
So equity, and inclusion kind of goals too.
Like, obviously, we want to
Engage, that's part of
engage
engagement.
everybody. It's not focused on one
Definitely,
group
yeah.
or not any other. It's
Definitely
everybody.
gonna have to be part of it, absolutely. Because you can't single out just one, you gotta bring all ethnicities together, if you will.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And if there's some training, that you guys want, and I know I'm getting ready to go through the DEI training with Visit Spokane, you can see it next week. So if there's something that you guys want me to bring some ideas back to share for you guys to go through as a group,
I think it's great.
great question. I'll take a note. All right, well, do you have anything else really to do?
I don't think so. I think just again, as you guys maybe look through this again after the meeting and think about what we talked about, if you have any questions, let me know. I mean, I'm just the one that put it on paper first. Again, it's going to be up to you guys to figure out how things move forward, and how you guys design it and develop it and what your product is and how successful it is. I think eventually my input will be unnecessary because you guys are going to be the experts. So, yeah.
I don't think we're gonna be so formal as,
Okay.
unless y'all start talking over each other.
One question, the phone number on here, is that something that's like a voice over IP phone number set up by the city? Or is it, because the phone number that's listed by my name, that's not my number. Oh,
Yeah, what are those numbers?
that's okay. I'll send a note to you, an email thing.
So the phone numbers for everybody around?
Mine's correct.
Mine's correct.
Oh, mine's correct.
Well, I didn't know, I mean, that's.
That would just be an error on my part, so I apologize. If you all want to review it and email me any corrections that need to be made, I'd be happy to hop in and make that and then email everybody an updated copy.
Kelsey Hardy, our city clerk.
I thank you, Kelsey. Yes, I was hoping I got a community voicemail. They have that in the city of Spokane, so maybe we can set that up here. Thank you.
No, and we typically do not publish these to the general public. You guys have them for each other. So that's why they're not electronic.
One more quick question, just on data capture, city commission, so one of the other commissions utilizes a lot of data in their analysis for the planning commission. Is data capture and analysis something that's kind of in the bucket of the city staff? I'm just thinking with the data that's going to be coming in, whether it's QR code surveys or whatever it may be. Is that something that's going there or something that would live with the commission for us to figure out?
We'll have to figure out what happens with that.
Okay.
Yeah, this is, we're creating, you guys are a ball of dough and we're gonna mold, you guys are gonna mold yourselves into something.
Okay.
So it might shift here and there, but yeah, good question though.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you have further questions in the meantime that are kind of staffing related or anything like that, or what do other commissions do, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Certainly until David gets here, and even when he gets on board, 'cause he's gonna have to get his feet wet, and we'll be here to support him and keep him standing up, but I might even attend the first few just to kind of help answer questions, since he's just getting to know us too, so.
And is there any sort of data policy that the city has currently in place as far as data management or? Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
And, what about trusted resources? Is there a list or a shared sort of space for that, or?
So the city has a really great resource in MRSC, Municipal Resource Service Center. So as a city, we are members, and as commissioners, you should have access to that. So you can just go to MRSC, you can put in any question you want, and then you can put in the time frame you want a question back. You can ask them, hey, we've used them before. Hey, can you point us toward cities who have existing ordinances on X? So we don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. There's also a ton of resources on that website. We'll add that to your resources.
I was gonna say, could you send that link to us?
Yeah, Association of Washington Cities is also a pretty good resource. You can sign up, and all of these have regular bulletins that they send out. So sign up for what you want, try it for a while, you know, unsubscribe, whatever you want to do. But I'm signed up for all kinds of different bulletins that come up, but they often, you know, talk about community engagement, things like that. So there's lots that you guys can access.
Well, honestly, Chris, I think anything that you can get to us.
Yeah.
That we can go out and take a look and retrieve any information. We, like you said, we can always go away where we don't
Yeah.
know, but there'll be a lot just for us, just to learn
Yeah.
and, you know, be able to be, you know, smart.
Yeah, and it may spark an idea.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I do it, I get those all the time. You can just, yesterday, going to the Association of Washington Cities, AWC's legislative wrap up. There was stuff that, you know, they went over yesterday that I hadn't heard during the legislative session. I'm like, oh, you know, make a note, talk to Lisa about that, talk to Kyle about that. Let's dig into some of this stuff. So you guys will probably find the same, you know, even just reading some of the bulletins. So I'll get those all out.
Thank you, Mayor. What was the name of the one organization you suggested, Washington?
So there's a couple right off the bat. One is Municipal Research Service Center, MRSC, here in Washington. You can get lost in their resources. They've got so much.
They're great
information to
for
share.
seeing what other cities do,
Yes.
policies,
Yeah.
any documents like that.
Yeah.
Great for that.
And then the other one is Association of Washington Cities, AWC. So again, MRSC, you know, by way of the city, you'll have your city email address. If you send in a request, it'll say, you know, who are you? And then obviously because of your email address, you know, it'll be verified that you're part of the city. But AWC, both of them have great trainings, either things that you can sign up for, or things that are on demand. I know you've gone through a bunch of them. I have. I've gone through a bunch and the staff goes through. So anything free, obviously have at it. If it's something that you're interested in that might cost, we'll have to look at that. 'Cause we don't have a training budget for you guys. I don't know if we have it somewhere else in the training, but obviously take advantage of anything that's free out there. And if you find something useful, share it with the other commission members. So I'm taking some notes here, so we'll keep getting things out to you guys. Okay, so we have bylaws review on here. Did you want to? We kind of touched on that a little.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing with bylaws is that Kelsey included all the different commissions, all the different ordinances. So you guys can look through that and kind of think about how you want to structure this group. And what do you want it to look like? So you have the hard copies of all of those. And they're going to look pretty similar because again, the ordinance for you guys is, it was like I typed it from the one.
Do all commissions have bylaws?
Yes,
They do.
but ours in Parks and Arts, we just adopted the ordinance as our bylaws.
Okay, that's what I mean. So you guys didn't have a separate bylaw, your ordinance is the bylaw.
But I don't think, you know, things like, well, there are resignations and removals, terms, but I don't think, was there anything in here? I can't remember about excuse and excuse absences, and I know that was missing from. I think no, Parks and Arts had that.
We have ours, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We have that.
Regular meetings. Yeah, it's-
But it doesn't, I don't think it has.
Yeah, so those are things that you guys can look at. So for the council, you know, and if that's, and the council is actually by RCW. So 3 unexcused absences in a row, you're off the council. I don't think 12 years we haven't had that. Right before me, I think they were getting close to that with one member. And that's, I think, oh, that's the seat I took or not. No, anyway, so those are things you guys want to be cognizant of, you know, obviously excused absences or, you know, family emergency, family work, vacation, you know, we don't get that. But if you guys are only meeting once a month, it shouldn't be that big of an issue. Because if you're missing 3, if you're meeting monthly and you miss 3 in a row unexcused, there's
Yeah.
something wrong with it.
You have an issue.
Yeah.
You're engaged.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so you guys, review that and you guys, we can put that on the next meeting agenda for you guys to talk about.
Yep.
And then for now, until further notice, we will continue to offer the virtual meeting. So if you can't be here in person and you're somewhere that you can log in, there will be a Zoom link for you. We found a lot of people like that because it does allow them to still attend, yet they don't have to be here. So we do intend to keep that, but in-person component obviously is now a thing. So
That's great.
Especially with a group like this.
Yeah.
You're gonna wanna be able to be able to look at each other in the face and
Oh, yeah.
and know when you're being talking over someone or not. I think Zoom helped that with a lot of people, because people got used to being patient and waiting. Because even now that we're back in person with council, we don't run into that much. Everybody's pretty good about waiting their turn. But it's, you guys are gonna be creative. You guys need to be able to have that quick back and forth.
And the meetings will be, since they're recorded and video and audio, they'll be uploaded onto the city website under agendas and minutes. Is that right, Kelsey? Agendas and minutes? And then the draft minutes, once they're approved, the final minutes will be posted to the website with them as well.
So, also, Councilor Salberg left. I think he.
I think you scared me.
I think I did. I didn't mean to, but, well, he's just been so involved in so many things, I know, and, he's not used to being the council member
Yeah.
at this point, so,
I understand.
there's that, like, so there are different lanes that you have to stay in. So, but is there anybody on Zoom, that's not staff that might have a question? I think David's the only one, and he's probably tied up unless he has a question.
We'll do some pictures.
And so just going left to right, so we introduced you to Kelsey. Next to her is Kyle Dixon, he's our finance director. Trevor's not on camera. He's backing Jen up in her, from her director's role and doing an awesome job as well. And David, you're technically a citizen right now. Do you have any questions for us? Nope, okay. We look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. Okay, so, identify next meeting date, time, and location. What are you guys thinking?
If I can make a suggestion, I was thinking 3 weeks from today. That would be the 20th. That would probably give David a week and a half to get his feet wet, so he can, I could have suggested be a badass and suggest the 13th, which would be 2 days into the job, but no, if the 20th works for everybody.
So refresh my memory, Jen, on when our other commission meetings are. So I know library board is the,
Oh, okay, sorry.
or it's okay, the second Wednesday of the month.
Let me look. I think that's a good day.
Yeah, we wanted.
What time of day? Do you all like this time, 6 o'clock?
I'd be
Yeah.
anytime.
If it's a week, I've got to be at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
So
So that's
That's fine.
pretty wide open.
So the third, at least just to start, you want to shoot for the third Wednesday of each month?
Yep.
And if you guys.
Oh, wait, okay, we can do that, but I'm gonna have to look at my camping schedule.
Say, yeah,
I'm gone every other week during the summer, so.
Bring your laptop.
Yeah,
Bring your
bring your laptop.
Well, a lot of places don't have Wi-Fi.
Bring your phone.
Bring your backbone.
Yeah.
So okay, so for tentatively, let's set your
We-
schedule,
we're fine, we're
the third Wednesday of each month at 6. If you guys decide you want to do special meetings, in between there, you guys can decide and vote on that, and we can figure that out. And then, as you guys go along, if that date is, that time of the month is not working for you guys, talk about it, vote on it, and change it.
Just know that if you do call a meeting, we need 24 hours, right,
Yes.
Kelsey?
Correct, yes, please.
And, do we want to, Kelsey, while we have you, well, I'm gonna let Heidi jump in real quick, and I got a question for you, Kelsey.
Just, can we meet on Zoom if we're unable to come in person? Like
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Fair enough. Thanks.
Yeah. So Kelsey, what, I know what the deadline schedule and what you need for council. When we start getting into this, if their meetings are gonna be the third Wednesday of each month, by what time do you need agenda items finalized? You can budget if you want.
That's a good question. So I do have to post the meeting notice and ideally the agenda and packet 24 hours ahead of time. Tentatively, a couple days ahead of that is ideal to get any agenda topics, packet material, so that staff has time to compile it, review it, put it together, and balance the rest of their workload too. So
For Monday.
3 to 4 business days, is that kind of what you're?
yeah, perhaps Thursday, the week before the meeting,
Yeah, that'll work.
Thursday noon or something like that.
Just remember, because looking at the schedule, you know, if this is gonna be the third Wednesday of every month, we have a council meeting the first and third Tuesday, so that's gonna pack that week for you.
Tate and Megan are taking over on clerking.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Never mind. I give Kelsey every other week off.
Kelsey, I'm gonna put you on the invite just so you have it though, on your calendar.
All right. Okay, so City Hall,
Yes,
April 20th.
yes.
Okay. Sounds good. And for those of you, I know we have done for the other commissions and council members, tours of the city facilities and parks and whatnot. If that's something you guys are interested in, I know we're doing some for some of our newer council members, but, and we also have a bunch of new employees starting in the next couple of weeks, but maybe somewhere between now and the next meeting,
Yeah.
we can arrange, we have to split you guys up. So we don't have a meeting to notice. We got, we technically do quorum on 9 because our commission is 5 to 9. Yeah, I'll get with Sean to see. So we have 6 appointed members. I would assume a quorum is 4, but I'll confirm them. So if we just put you guys 3 and 3 or whatever, then that'll be fine. So we'll work on a tour for you guys because there's probably parts of the city and behind the scenes that you guys don't know about. So that will help as well. All right. Any other closing comments or anything that you think we should add to the next agenda for you guys? Of course, you know, send a note to Jen in the meantime if something else comes up, but I'll get you the links for the training, bring back some opportunities for the diversity, equity, inclusion training, links to MRSC, AWC, and any others that I can think of. There's lots of alphabet soup out there, so please stop me if I get into acronyms that you don't know what I'm saying. I'm just used to doing it for so long, like they just automatically come out. So, all right, all good?
Thank you, such an honor.
No, really glad to have you guys here and the inaugural Community Engagement Commission. And I look forward to hearing a lot of great ideas from you guys.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. We
Thank
are, if there are no objections, we'll adjourn.